Well, I'd say I'm about as ready as I'm ever going to be for this. Before I go in, I pretty much rest assured of the fact that this is going to be a long segment, but fought Bakura a couple times, got a Gate D, which I'm pretty happy with. Increases my summoning power to the maximum value. Also reincarnated for a reverse trap. This triggers against power-ups involving increases, and it reverses that positive effect to a negative amount. The reason for that is because of a special card that the boss runs. I mentioned it in the previous segment. It's called Ryoku. I imagine at some point you will find out exactly what the card does, or at least get an idea of what it does. I've got pretty much everything that I feel is going to work here. I'm actually also running the Spike Seadra as well as this High Tide Gyojin, just to give me more options to fuse into Aqua Dragon. Obviously the Triple Molten Behemoth. I'm also running rocks so that I've at least got some kind of use for the Wasteland. I also managed to get a Dark Piercing Light off Bakura. I didn't even know he ran this, but this is a nice little bauble of a card. It flips all the enemy cards on the field face up, so that's going to be really, really good for the future. For the rest of this playthrough. I don't think I'll be running any deck without this for the rest of the game. That's just how good it is. And if you line up 3 of those, you get a Swords of Revealing Light, which up until the code discovery was the only way we knew how to get Swords of Revealing Light. But Swords of Revealing Light has its own code, which is a bit inconsistent because many other cards that require like lining up slots are just sort of locked. I just sort of don't have a code like Summon Skull. I'm not too sure if Dark Magician Girl is locked behind a code. Like if it has a code or not, I can't remember. Anyhow, this guy's deck cost is still just about 800 above me. That gives you a fair idea of just how powerful this guy's deck is going to be. I mean, it's fair play. He's got boss monsters from pretty much the entirety of the game. So, all I can say is wish me luck. I could have done some more. I could have put in some more effort and fought a whole bunch of these other players a whole lot more. I could have gotten some Pyro stuff off Shardy. I could have gotten some more Red Eyes from Joey. Time Wizards. I think he's running a few decent traps. Mai actually has Monster Reborn in her deck. I wouldn't have minded getting 1 or 2 of those. Mako's obviously got more sea monsters, which would allow me to summon more Aqua Dragons. But I'm going to roll with what I've got, and I'm going to hope for the best. So, I'm not even going to begin to try to pronounce this guy's last name, but this is just the Resident Stonehenge field. There's 3 fields that are like this, corresponding to each of the 3 duelists that you fight on this terrain. The only difference between the fields is what's in the middle. For this fight, it's dark, and for the other 2, it'll be revealed in due course. So, I've actually opened with Reverse Trap, which is fucking phenomenal. This is probably the best hand I've actually opened with in the entirety of the game. I can't begin to tell you how amazing it is. And he just Dark Holes my fucking Reverse Trap. Turn 1, I've opened Biblical, Reverse Trap, your power-up card's useless, proceeds to Dark Hole my fucking Reverse Trap. Thank you, game. I really do appreciate that. I knew the game wasn't going to let everything go my way, but I'm still rolling with whatever the hell I've opened up with, which means I can turn this dark field into a type of field that benefits me more than it benefits them. So what my plan here is, I'm just going to go ahead and sort of pop the Molten Behemoth here. He's not going to get through that. At least I'm assuming he's not going to be able to get through that. Yeah. If he thought that he would be able to get through it, then he would have attacked me. Because the weird thing with this boss is he has, for some reason, he just knows what cards you have. He will only attack your monster if he knows he can get over it, regardless of whether it's face up or face down. So if you've got like a 3500 beat stick and he's got a 4k, even if yours is face down, he'll just attack into it because he knows you're 3500. That's just how stupid this guy is. It's like mind reading. And unfortunately, in my case, I don't have an alter ego living within me, and so I can't mind shuffle my way around it. So I just kind of have to deal with it. It's not really that big of a deal, though, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Now, I'm starting to brick a bit here, which is unfortunate, but he's not got anything that can get over Behemoth. Like, even if he makes a Meteor Black Dragon, which he can do, even if he attacks into Behemoth, Behemoth is just going to get the 500 point boost from its own effect. So I feel like I should probably... Alright, let me just do this. I want to free up some stuff in my hand. Oh, these two fuse. To make a Sea King Dragon. Is that... Okay, that's a Sea Serpent. So, if I can fuse that with an Aqua type, that should give me my Aqua Dragon right there. So I'll just sort of keep him chilling there. I don't see any reason to do anything further. That's a regular power increase, thankfully. It's not the Ryoku. It is Gate Dig, though, which replenishes his summon power. You understand now why I'm myself am running it. Okay, so we've got Fire Yara, we've got another Molten Behemoth. I see absolutely no reason as to why we can't go straight into a Vermilion Sparrow here. That Vermilion Sparrow is packing a lot of heat. It's not packing as much heat as I would like for it to, though. So we're going to sort of keep him from moving forward for a little bit. There's a fusion. There's only a handful of fusions that this guy can bring out, so it's not going to be very difficult to identify what he's used here. Yeah, here we have the Meteor Black Dragon. And then these are going to be overly useless, but I'll go with another Molten Behemoth here. Now, if I move this forward, he's going to go down to 2400. And if he's got something that's bigger than it, just as 2400, then it's going to sort of ruin my plan. I don't believe this guy runs any traps, so I don't have to worry about running into like a Mirror Force or something like that, unless he gets one off a Destiny draw. Three-legged zombies is not going to be very helpful, unfortunately. Now that I think about it, he's got 4 cards down. Why don't I just flip this thing up? Just to show off what it does. Because he's got nothing but monsters on board. He's got Zoa, which it's still on 2600 because he's got the terrain drop, but he's also got the attack boost from Chakra. He's then got Blue Eyes. There's the first sighting of Blue Eyes. There's the Meteor Black Dragon. Then he's just got a Toon Summon Skull here, which is, again, getting a nice little boost from his deck leader. Which is another card that you can't actually get in physical form because this is actually a ritual monster. A rule of thumb is, if it's a ritual monster, then it's unobtainable. The only way you can actually have it is if you summon it through the ritual. Now, if I combine these two, I would get a Armored Zombie. I think the only reason I'm doing this is to just free up space in my hand. So if I can get my Shadow of Eyes and force his stuff into attack mode, then that would be lovely. It would also be nice to if I can get one of my power-up cards, because I'm not actually running that many of them, because I'm running a whole bunch of monsters, just because of various reasons. And I'm not too sure why he's sending his Gate Dig out here, because he knows exactly what I'm playing, so there's no reason for him to bother going anywhere near me. Run over the Armored Zombie, because again, it's entirely useless. Hell, even the Call of the Haunted's kind of just not very helpful at the moment, so I'm gonna... I can't do that, can I? Because I wanted to lay down the power of Kaishin so that I could use it on Aqua Dragon once I got it, but I can't quite do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Millennium Golem out of the way. I want to keep Fire Eye in case I want to make another Vermilion Sparrow. So I'll lay that down there. Once I get my other Aqua type, which I think the only one I've got in my deck is my Roaring Ocean Snake, I will fuse it with that, fit it with the power of Kaishin. It'll be 3250 when it goes into Sea Terrain, which is still not going to be enough to get over Meteor Black Dragon, but it's going to be able to cover everything else that he's got on his board in regards to monsters. And something like Gate Dig, if I can get my Shadow of Eyes on board, that's going to screw him over even harder. Unfortunately, I'm just not getting what I really, really want here, so I'm just going to sort of run over that because, like, most of this shit is just useless. I'm pretty much bricking. That's really all that I can say about this. I'm pretty much bricking. There's only a few particular cards that I want, and I'm not getting any of them. Well, there's Spring of Rebirth, so that works. Might as well fit that onto the Sparrow. So the awesome thing here is that I can move the Sparrow up here. Now, the fact that he knows how much... he's not actually switching it to defense mode there. Probably because he thinks the Blue Eyes is going to retaliate if I attack into it. Either that or he probably just... Either that or maybe the CPU is just not aware of the fact that I could get a terrain bonus and move into attack like that. So... because that's always a possibility right there. What am I going to go for here? Just for shits and gigs, let's put my Flame Swordsman down there. Because, fuck it, just make room, basically. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip this Behemoth. That's going to put Vermilion Sparrow on 3400. I'm going to roll straight over the top of the Zoa. Again, no traps. I believe the only one he actually runs is Decree. So I don't really have any concerns about running into shit. I'm even bigger than his Blue Eyes at the moment, and obviously, if he's got like a whole destroy specific enemy type, which I don't think he has, it's obviously not going to be against Pyros. I think it would. I think in the case of a Fiend, it would work on spellcasters, but in this case, it's only Weaken, which I'm pretty confident that that's going to work on spellcasters. Fuck's sake, I'm getting a little bit sick of this, but at least for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and merge Fire Eye and Flame Swordsman here, make another Sparrow, and fit it with a Burning Spear. Because that's still going to be respectable just by itself. Now, I think I'm going to go ahead and flip up my other Behemoth here and just swing into Blue Eyes. Now, he's got to... He's going to want to move the fuck out of the way very, very quickly because I'm going to ram into him if he doesn't. Well, I mean, I'm fine with that. Because... honestly... first I want to see what that fusion he just made is. Sang of the Thunder and Thousand Dragon. That would be Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon. But, you know what? I have won. Just draw a couple of my crappy cards, but yeah, I've won. That's it. It's over. Because he's got no traps, because, you know, that's a monster. He's got nothing but monsters, and I can just move 2 spaces and wipe out the rest of his life points, so that's it. All I needed was to jack the power of this Sparrow up high enough, and I would have just... and I've just kind of wiped him out in one fell swoop. So that's it. And Vermilion Sparrow has a well-earned promotion as a result. So, let's see if I can get something decent. I mean, he's got nothing but good cards in his friggin' slot here. Well, I got a Red Eyes. I got a Meteor Dragon. Can I maybe get Zoa? Hey, I got Zoa. I got 3 massive beat sticks from his graveyard. I'm very, very happy with that. So, that's him dead. Well, I mean, to be fair, you didn't lose. You did not lose. You got the shit belted out of you for all of eternity. Now go back to where the hell it is you came from. until the end of the LP when I actually get to the end of the other half of the game. Also, Card Guardian, for whatever reason. But yeah, he mentioned his brother from the sands of Egypt. As I believe I've mentioned, I think towards the start of this playthrough, this is intended as a sequel to Forbidden Memories. I believe both games in Japan are called Shin Duel Monsters, and this is Shin Duel Monsters 2. And the character of DarkNite is actually very, very similar in... it looks very, very similar to the fellow that we just knocked over. So it's implied that they are brothers, and that he was referring to the events of the climax of Forbidden Memories. So for all of your help, Seto decides to give you a York emblem, which is actually different in the Japanese version. It shows a cross instead of those two swords. So, yeah, he just sort of does that. Go back to the future, find my descendant, show them that, and be like, well, I traveled back in time, helped your ancestor. That's totally not far-fetched or anything like that. But, as you can quite clearly see, the end result is basically the same. Even though you took all the red rose cards and did all that sort of stuff, Yugi still eventually did reign and reign victorious and become king. So that's basically how that happened. Y34PN1SV. That is Earthshaker. I know for a fact that is Earthshaker because that's not the first time I've gotten that code. So I think what I'm going to do with that code that I am given, I am probably going to... I'm going to choose a different code, but it's going to be out of the ones that the game already, like, the ones that the developers intended for you to know. So, in that case, I've got to go to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki to get that list of codes. I already have the one I want in mind. So all that's left is to... I'm not too sure if I'm going to get credits here. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to get credits. Can I skip these? It does not look like I can skip these. Is there a way I can, like, speed up the emulator? Doesn't look like it. So I guess I'm just stuck here for a decent amount of time. I guess I might as well... Yeah, screw it. I might as well switch over to the browser quickly and get the password that we're getting next once we actually get back into the thing. Generate. 275. I believe that was the build weight of the rock back in 2000 or something like that. 275 would be Faithbird, which is a level 4 winged beast. Kind of interesting, but at the same time not overly interesting, so we're going to go ahead and put that in once we're done here. But, yeah, simply put, it doesn't really matter which order that you do the sides in, just the fact that the second side is pretty much easier, just because you have a decent collection of cards and can actually modify your deck, not just to cover for the opponent's deck cost, however high or low it may be, but also because you're probably also going to end up with a whole bunch of different cards of different types, archetypes, attributes, all that sort of stuff. So you'll probably have a counter to whatever you go up against in the second half, so... I guess the most interesting part about going through the red side of the game now is the fact that it's not actually linear. What we just witnessed was literally just me from going from one duelist to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. If you're siding with the red rose, you get a split path right from the start. You get two different duelists to go up against, and it just gets all fucking... It just gets crazier from there. So, Having done one side of the story, as you would probably expect, you are brought back to this part of the story, where Seto gives you the 2 roses, and you choose which one you want. Obviously, if you've done one side of the story, you only get one choice. So here I have to side with the Lancastrians and do that side of the story. And as of course, this also results in a cutscene of its own, because you get taken straight over to Brest, where you meet Yugi. I would say that the fellow standing next to him to the right there is your character, but I'm pretty sure that's what Jay Shardy Morton looks like. But as I'm pretty sure you can tell, Joey's on the far right of that table. There's Yugi's not grandpa in between him and Shardy, and then Simon's just on the other side there. He's a bit, eh. Only because I did the other side of the story first, and actually finally decided, yeah, I'm gonna just join your group now, because there's nothing much else I have to do. So, there you go. His real name is Henry Tudor, but because this game made him the equivalent of Yugi, he's just like, I'm gonna have this weird nickname that nobody understands. I'm just gonna call myself Yugi for whatever reason. Just dumb, but whatever. More just pointless exposition. I mean, it's just pretty much the same old, you know, have your deck cost lower than the opponents in order to capture their rose card and stuff like that. So that's out of the way. We leave there. We don't go back to where we came from, but we end up in another port over here. I believe this is in Wales somewhere. And as you can see, split path. And so our 2 choices are Beavis and Butthead. And you don't have access to anybody in the red side until you have beaten these white fellows, after which point you'll have access to all of the duelists and you can mess around with them however you want because you've beaten the game. So there you go. Before I head off, I'm going to go ahead and pop this password in. It is for Faithbird, if my memory serves me correctly. NF2 take. Not even kidding, that's literally what it's gonna say. T-A-K-E. Take. Take 9. Why can't I take 9? I want to take 10. 10 minutes is better. There's your Faithbird. Respectable stats for a winged beast, I'll give it that. And then lastly is the code that I am choosing. I'm just going to get it from this spreadsheet because I know that the code that I'm after is one of the original ones that we had access to from the start. If I can find the damn thing. I'm still in the spells, aren't I? Yeah, here we go. This one I like because it's literally just nothing but numbers. 7, 3, 1, 5, 3, 7, 3, 6. That should be about right. Damn. Slate Warrior. Slate Warrior is quite an interesting specimen. It is an immortal type monster. What is an immortal type monster? Well, it's a special type of monster. I will be showing off the special beneficiaries that the immortal type has over the course of this side of the playthrough. As for now, I'm going to be ending the recording here. And I'm going to get myself some sleep as the previous segment uploads, and on Thursday I'll be doing my next segment, at least I'm pretty sure I will be. And I can talk about me getting a tooth ripped out, I guess. So there you go. I will see you then.